Stomach is a dilated segment of the digestive tract, whose main functions are to continue the digestion of carbohydrates initiated in the mouth and an acidic fluid to the ingested food, transform it by muscular activity into a viscous mass, and initial digestion of proteins with the enzyme pepsin. The mucosa and submucosa of the undistended stomach lie in longitudinally directed folds, which will flatten out when the stomach is filled with food. The inner surface is divided into aerial gastric by grooves. The gastric mucosa consists of surface epithelium, light invaginates to various extents into the lamina propria, forming gastric pits. The lamina propria is composed of loose connective tissue, interspersed with smooth muscles and lymphocytes. Gastric glands fill in the lamina propria, in the fundus and body of the stomach. Branched 3 to 7 tubular gastric glands open into the bottom of each gastric pit. We mainly learn surface epithelium and gastric glands. Epithelium is simple columnar epithelium, known as surface mucous cells. Surface mucous cells cover the inside of the epithelium and the gastric pits. They secrete a continuous mucus film that prevents the acidified proteinase solutions in the stomach from ulcerating the mucosa. No goblet cells in the epithelium. If goblet cells are found in the surface epithelium, it is the omen of gastric cancer. Glands include cardiac glands, pyloric glands, and gastric glands or fundic glands. Gastric gland consists of 5 types of cells: chief or zymogenic cells, parietal or oxymistic cells, mucous neck cells, stem cells, and endocrine cells. First 2 are the emphases. Chief cells predominate in the lower region of the tubular gland. Parietal cells are present mainly in the upper half of the gastric gland. In the right picture, single arrow shows parietal cells, double arrow shows chief cells. Chief cells are located in the lower region of tubular glands, have all the characteristics of protein synthesizing and exporting cells. Chief cells are columnar cells with basophilic cytoplasm. Their basophilia is due to the abundance RER. The granules in their cytoplasm contain the inactive enzyme pepsinogen. The pepsinogen is rapidly converted into the highly active proteolytic pepsin after being released into the acid environment of the stomach. Parietal cells are in the upper half of gastric glands. They are rounded or pyramidal cells with one centrally placed spherical nucleus and intensely eosinophilic cytoplasm. The cell contains mitochondria and a deep circular invagination of apical plasma membrane, forming intracellular canaliculus. In resting state, the cell has more tubular vesicles, less intracellular canaliculi and mitochondria. In secreting state, the cell has less tubular vesicles, more intracellular canaliculi and mitochondria. Function: parietal cells secrete hydrochloric acid, which activate enzyme pepsinogen to enzyme pepsin. Hydrogen ion originates from the dissociation of carbonic acid in the parietal cells and pumped into the lumen of the gland. Chloride ion is absorbed from the blood and transported into the lumen of the gland. In addition to hydrochloric acid, parietal cells also secrete intrinsic factors, which can promote vitamin B12 to be absorbed by ileum. This is the EM of parietal cell in secreting state. The cavity of the stomach is filled with hydrochloric acid and pepsin. Then, how the stomach realize self-protection? First, mucous carbonic acid barrier. The barrier consists of a layer of 0.25 to 0.5 mm thick mucus lattice made of indissoluble gel rich in bicarbonate ion. The barrier can separate the stomach epithelium from the pepsin and slows diffusing speed of hydrogen ion into the mucosa. Second, the epithelium has a turnover time of 4 to 7 days. If some cells are damaged, they will be replaced very soon. If the balance is destroyed, it will lead to gastric ulcer. About the other layers of stomach, you can learn yourself. Now, let's look at the clinical case. First question: what cell secretes sour water? It is the parietal cell, belongs to the stomach of digestive system. Second question: Helicobacter pylori is a kind of spiral microaerobic bacteria, which requires very strict growth conditions. Helicobacter pylori was first discovered by two Australian doctors, Warren and Marshall, in 1983. At that time, it was not recognized by the mainstream medical community, because in the past, it was thought that bacteria could not be parasitized in the stomach due to the effect of gastric acid. But they did experiments with their own bodies. After unremitting efforts, they finally changed the world's view and won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. We should learn from them the spirit of dedication to cells.